Hello everyone and welcome to day 3 of Verizon Game Changers. We've had a lot of action in the past couple days. We've had a lot of back and forth. Some teams that we had to say goodbye to yesterday, but the action is going to continue today. A lot of teams that are fighting to make it to the top, fighting to win against that Shopify Rebellion, but before that they have to go through the lower bracket that we're going to be seeing today. I'm your host Dryad, and today on the desk I'm joined by Ender and Athena. And guys, let's talk a little bit about what happened yesterday. Ender, I know some things happened. I know something happened, but we got to the chance to see on the upper bracket, at least in the mainstream, we got the chance to see the Shopify Rebellion team getting that win. It was the same for Passion Project, so things going as expected on that side. And on the lower bracket, and there, that's when, I don't know, do we want to talk about it?
I mean, I guess we can, you know, Poor Teddy Tactics. Actually, the Teddy Tactics did me a solid because we just lost both our games, so I could be on the show today. So that's really all that it was about. Because obviously we would beat FlyQuest Red any other day. But no, in all seriousness, FlyQuest Red kind of whooped on us. They ran some pretty serious execs against us that were really difficult to deal with. And they're of course the team we're going to see playing later this evening.
Athena, do you think things are going the way that everybody was expecting? Because it's different, right? This Game Changers, this Series 2 is very different. We have different teams. We have mixed rosters compared to what we were used to seeing. So I feel like we don't really know what to expect.
Yeah, I feel like with all the free agent rosters, as well as like the roster mania that has happened, it's so hard to kind of pinpoint where each of these teams land on a scale of like who's the better team, who's gonna win in what scenario. And so we've kind of just had this weird back and forth of like really strong free agent teams just kind of like going through the motions and like beating people in the bracket. And we've seen obviously an upset, you know, FlyQuest being dropped down to lower bracket by a free agent team. So it's definitely an interesting bracket with all this roster stuff that's happening.
And I know you guys didn't miss it, but just in case something happened yesterday, let's take a look at the recap so you guys can see all those teams that took the wins, took the losses yesterday, and that's going to connect to what we're going to be seeing today.
Well, folks, you had a taste yesterday, and we know you want more. So welcome back to day 2 of Verizon Game Changers.
Now stuck into a stinger buy with all the amounts of spike plants that they had in the last few rounds, and Panini opens up with 2. It's been quite important for them on how they're trying to work the map. When you saw and heard how aggressive Passion Project is trying to be, moving up the dynamic duo of this roster that puts up so many multi-frags round after round.
Passion Project not dropping down quite yet because it's Marceline to worry about, and another.
I'm a super
You want more? Here's more.
I'm a super
One enemy remaining.
Gonna follow up on it, but still the follow up. Oh, you thought. Don't protect Wingman. Wingman will be spent first. That comes up to help clear. Russia tried to blast back over. That won't work out. And whoa! How about Meso predicts? So now you have to check if you're slandy. Shots are good for the first. Gets away cleanly. Second one lands. Noya's only a bullet worth of health. 1v3. Oh my goodness! I think we were all looking for maybe a triple collapse. It was nearly a full stack up. Floor will make good on it though. Nice blast back in the classic. Within about a time. Rip trying to hop on. Meso good for the first. Alexis popping off, and Alexis. Not at all. Meso dealt with 2v5. It's been a map full of clutches for Reform, and only a Guardian to work with. Just simply zoned out of the picture.
I feel like I just watched a movie. That was so intense. And honestly, Ender, that's how the matches felt yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, they're really intense, especially being on the receiving end of a pretty strong FlyQuest down in that lower bracket. But I do just want to say, because like, for anyone that doesn't know, I'm the coach for Teddy Tactics, and I just want to shout out all of my players. We didn't actually get to feature on the mainstream because we got 2-0'd, but the core of our team has been playing together for a year now. which is kind of a crazy thing in the GC scene outside of Shopify Rebellion, for example. And every single event we placed better and better. This was our first main event we ever played in. Getting top 8 was like a really cool thing for us. And literally 4 of our players have been playing together since last year. Chip, our newest addition, has been amazing to the team. So I just want to say that I'm very, very proud of what we've been able to do. And 8th place is the worst we're ever going to do from here on out, because we just do better and better every single event. Like last year, GC Series 2, we were getting round of 24'd. And ever since, we've been, taking games off of stronger teams and pushing up here. So I'm very proud of the team.
Dang.
Shout out Teddy Tactics. Shout out Teddy Tactics. Honestly, a team that, like you were saying, Ender, has been doing better and better. But, the competition, as we said, as that movie was, is really, really intense. And unfortunately, we had to say goodbye to 2 of our teams yesterday on this main event. And today we're going to say goodbye, Athena, to 2 other teams. But let's talk about the first match that we have today. It's actually going to be Solstice against Mesos Millionaires. And these are teams that, as like we were just talking about, are teams that are mixing rosters, some names that we recognize a lot more from previous Game Changers, some that are still getting to know each other. And so Solstice is a team that it might be the favorite for maybe the top 3, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, watching this team play has been a pleasant surprise. Each one of these players brings so much to the table, not even just firepower, but just being insane. And I just want to touch a little bit on Melia and how this player has been playing. Every single player on this team has just done absolutely insane under it.
Absolutely. I'd also say elaborate there, having a little bit of a clutch. This is a player that I had the chance to coach all the way a year back, back when she was playing, the super ham duelist agent, but she's gone through a big overhaul in her own play style, shifting over and playing into the sentinel role, and I think it's rounded her out so well. She is a very hot prospect, and you'll recognize her from some other rosters that have made main event, but she's a player that you've got to keep your eyes on because she's going to continue to impress.
Yeah, and the way that Solstice was playing was just insane. I feel like a lot of things when it comes to playing against Passion Project is that Passion Project is this team that we know is so solidified with their roster. They have experience. They have really good play style. They've all been, somewhat involved within organizations when it comes to Game Changers. But Solstice, they put up such a good fight. I mean, each one of these players, I said this again and again and again, because it was just so overwhelming to watch that every single player was able to put up a front. They had really good communication. They had really good teamwork. They were so fast on their protocols too that I just really want to give a big props to Solstice, and I'm excited to watch them again today.
And Ender, one of the players that have been that difference maker so far has been Melia. And this is exactly what I was talking about. Those players that are coming up, we're still getting to know and still surprising us with different things, especially with this Clove that I think is so fun to watch. Yeah,
I mean, honestly, the Clove is nasty. And I think this first match, we've got a couple of Clove pickers that could be coming in our different series today. It's one of those agents that can just kind of take over the server. And look, if Melia has to flex over, can play the duelist, can pop on the Clove too, it's always going to be a good time for her.
It has to feel good, especially when you see the team talk about it. You see Sabubu talk about how they want to play this Clove in a way that is pretty much a second duelist. And everybody in Game Changers, especially the teams that we've gotten the chance to see playing the Clove, they're talking about this, how they're adapting this Clove into their compositions, into their meta, and making it work out. And this is just the way that this team has found success. But it's Athena, it's something that I would love to see more today. I think it's going to be very map dependent though.
Yeah, for sure. They've played Clove so often, and Melia just has had so much success, not only in just the character itself, but I feel like the amount of value that they've gotten out of their ult as well, coming back to life and genuinely using that resurrection to good use, has been the name of the game. I feel like for the most part, there's probably a very high success rate on Melia's coming back to life with that ultimate form for Clove.
For sure. And in case anyone was like confused what was going on in Melia playing some Raze yesterday, Solstice were dealing with some tech issues and had to bring in an emergency sub. So she was flexing off. She's like the smokes player for the team, but she had to go and play some alternate stuff like that Raze and still looked pretty solid on it.
it kind of works out, right? Because if they're saying that they want to play this Clove as the second duelist, I mean, you're still kind of playing the duelist, literally playing the duelist when you have to make the changes. So it works out for the team. They're still in the competition. But now let's talk about Mesos Millionaires, another team that is one of those that maybe the name is not so familiar, but when you look at some of these players, you might recognize them from previous Game Changers. It's a team as well that has played so many matches. This Game Changer Series 2 has been a little different because we had 3 qualifiers for it, and Mesos Millionaires, they played every single one, and on top of that they played the Radiant Academy tournament. So it's just so much that they've been putting up to do.
Yeah, this team has just been playing so well. And again, I feel like today, just one thing we need to mention is I know they have a sub going into this. They have Marina playing first off, but either way, every single one of these players has some form of experience, and they've come into it with such a good, solid understanding. I mean, you have all these players playing crazy firepower wise. From an analytical point of view, I feel like the best part of this team is understanding where their flaws are and really capitalizing on their mistakes and understanding. I feel like it's a team that VOD watches and knows, hey, we messed up here, here, and here, and they really like to go through and follow up with those mistakes. And so I've kind of seen Mesos kind of step up to the plate and kind of bring a lot to the table, and so I just want to give them props for that.
For sure. And I also think, like, obviously the sub situation is a difficult one to have to do that on the day, but Marina is a player that I respect a ton. She's an excellent shot, but also we trialed her a little bit a couple of months back, and her mid-rounding is fantastic. Her awareness in server is just through the roof. So obviously you're coming into a team as a sub. It's a little bit different to have to do that on the day, but this is a player that's not necessarily just, you know, plugging in for the gunplay. She can have a big impact within the game, you know, from a calling or, you know, secondary perspective there too.
And it's crazy because we've had the scenarios where we've seen the subs coming in and still the team is getting these wins, and that's not easy to do, especially when is that sub playing a different role. Is something that you have to adjust on the fly, and teams would like to come to these matches with as much preparation as possible. So honestly, props to the subs and the teams that also have to adapt through it and adapt through whatever it takes to make it as far as they can in this Game Changers. We know that the first second plays, we know who the favorites are, but there's always surprises that have come up, so we would love to see more of those. But as I was talking about for Mesos Millionaires, one thing that I love to see about them is they've been on the grind. An insane amount of matches that they've been playing, a total of 21 matches since April. So since the beginning of the qualifier, they played all of these matches, all of these maps. They even went in through, as I said, the Radiant Academy to play 4 matches there, and now they come with so much experience on there.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy how the format works, especially if you take advantage of playing in the academy system too, if you don't make it to a main event. How many reps you can actually get, but on top of that, like how different those games are, because it's such a grind through the open qualifiers. You play 2 series within a day, they get so much reps, so much experience, but then you come in to, you know, the main event and you're playing 1 series a day. You have footage on all your opponents, so you actually get to start doing anti-stratting. It is a very different game. The teams that are able to adapt to that, like Mesos can show themselves to be able to do today, is a huge advantage to have.
Yeah, and the thing too that I really admire is that they went through the academy portion first. A lot of teams, when they kind of make a roster, especially with such well-known players that have been part of Game Changers for so long, they don't tend to want to go through the academy process. But that's what brings this team to maybe a different level, where they're really that dedicated. They wanted to test the waters and see how they start off first, and they wanted to kind of pick up on their weaknesses right away and to start it off in such a manner that, you know, if they can make it through academy, they can play really well, and they just focused on getting that grind in. And obviously, on top of that, you have to scrim a lot. That is a lot of games to play.
Yeah.
Honestly, it could get tiring.
And that's how you get better. I mean, I know you two know, but just the experience of playing in scrims, but also playing the amount of officials has to feel great for coming into these matches, into this tournament, and when you want to have a good performance. But 2 of the players as well that I want to talk about, I want to hype up a little bit, are the 2 controllers on both of the teams, is Nora and Teddy's Fluffy. They are controller players, and yet they have some of the best stats that we have on the main event right now. They're 2nd and 3rd, and just under Fluorescent, and I feel like that already says so much, Athena.
Yeah, I mean, I was actually casting one of the games watching Scary Shark, and let me tell you, this player is insane, not only firepower wise, but also util wise. Crosshair, aim, everything was insane, but you could always count on Nora to kind of hold down this site and be able to delay the other team for as long as possible, denying entry to any of that choke point.
Oh yeah, Scary Shark is truly that, you know, it's a Jaws moment whenever she's in the server. But the other side too, I gotta support Teddy, right? You know, it's in the name, but all things considered, Teddy is a beast in server as well. Another super high fragging smokes player on the opposite side, so you're always gonna have to watch out for her in server.
There's every single player here. They've had their moments so far. They had those moments, especially in the last 2 days of the main event, when you want to do your best, when you want to have that performance in there.
Yeah, you've got to watch out for that clove on Teddy is Fluffy, because it enables her to just get super, super aggressive and play those, you know, forward lines that you want to do, that Angel-esque play style. But on the other side, I have to say, Scary Shark is coming in with a little bit of a knowledge advantage in this series, because if you actually look at where Scary Shark, aka Nora, has been, you look back a couple of months and she was playing on that roster with all of these players on the other side. So there is going to be some element of knowing some of the tendencies on that team that she can definitely take into server today and try to abuse.
That is really cool. And that's something that, Athena, I want to say, you said it once for VCT. You were like, oh, as the IGL, you know how some of the dear old teammates play. You know how they're going to IGL. You know how they're going to do some specific things. And I feel like that can be a massive advantage. But again, it is really going to depend on the map. So let's jump into the map selector, see where we're going to be headed today between Solstice and Mesos Millionaires. And Athena, we got Ascent, Sunset, and Breeze.
Yeah, these maps are, I mean, this is pretty telling. I feel like this looks kind of how I expected the map picks to go. Solstice actually doing such a good job at Ascent in their recent play. They actually played with just a regular meta comp. I don't remember if they had the cloves, someone can correct me on that, but they did have just the meta comp, and I feel like this is the map where, for me, if you have that firepower going, you might be able to get away with a little bit of util to kind of outscale that for Mesos. But Mesos, I don't know. I'm feeling like Solstice for me just has so much more firepower over that, the way that they've played, that I'm really looking for the heavy mid-rounding to come in for Ascent in order to clutch it out for them.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point. And also, to confirm, yes, they are playing the meta stuff. Mesos has a small wrinkle, and that's the Astra instead of the Omen, which makes it hard to do some things on defense, like especially aggression into A main, but that global instant smoke is very, very powerful on your defensive side for just stopping any sort of quick floods on those hits.
And I like that idea, right? That slight change that we're going to see on the side of Teddy, where they're going to have this Astra. And this is, by the way, Teddy's Fluffy, the player that we just talked about, doing so insane, being of the best performance that we had on the main event. And Athena, as you said, on the other side is going to be the standard comp being played.
Yeah, so, I mean, honestly, for me, I love the Astra. Low-key. I'm like a really big Astra player, but Scary Shark on Omen, it's Scary Shark. I mean, we're just going to keep saying scary because both these players are just so insane. But this is, again, a really big thing about Ascent is the mid-rounding for both these teams. On defense, when you have those rotations, you need to be able to follow up and understand what the other team is going to be doing. But, you know, I mean, Andrew, you talked about Marina being really good at those mid-rounds, about all these players being really, really promised and well in the scene. So I really think when it comes to the mid-rounding on the attack side, maybe Mesos has a way to go.
Yeah, and my focus is going to be a little bit on Marina here and see how she performs. She is a bit of a flex player who plays some Soba, that's for sure. But what I know her to be very strong at is those smokes. So it'll be interesting to see how she can incorporate into that roster. Again, an agent that she certainly plays, but I haven't seen too recently.
And I'm sure it's going to be great no matter what, but it is an elimination match, so you would like to get away with the first map win. We're going to see who's going to take this first win of Ascent. And with that, let's send it to the casters. It is my two favorite things to get at the mall is lemon kiwi and Vans.
Right? Yeah, that's us. We can be acquired at your local mall. Check us out. But this match is what we really got to check out. We got Millionaires. We got Solstice back on broadcast. And one of them goes home, stays home.
Unfortunately, yes, definitely unfortunately. This is going to be a very pivotal match and stressful match for both of these teams, especially going into a couple of these subs. Sorry, last minute, especially Marina joining MESO Millionaires as a last minute, having to play an initiator role. And already, I mean, we're going to talk about those storylines a little bit later. There is already coming up in this best of 3 here, starting off on Ascent. And we do have MESO trying to work out just a slight 1-3-1 turret, watching that B main push. But there's going to be a lot of focus to try to probe to see what's happening on the defensive side over towards A. And really, we're playing very passively with Melia, holding this fragment, trying to keep them back. So lots of rotations going to start here for MESO in the early round.
Yes, MESO, like these slow defaults up until Teddy just jumps around like a frog and just kept committing to, despite knowing that, well, the A side is going to be defended by obviously more than one person. Now, the numbers favor the defense, who are pivoting towards A, because look who's traveling across into the defender spawn. It's the one tap from Marina. MESO, now loud and proud, going all the way to the B site, where awaiting them is at least a turret from that KJ, but it's not going to even be active. And that means MESO will get a plan, and they were almost cut off by Solstice. But
planted.
it's going to be close now in the 2v2, but Elise was so low, and now it's all up to Marina. And it wasn't a great lane to push at that moment, so MESO will lose pistol.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great start from both of these teams. For MESO Millionaires to push out towards Tree and realize they were playing so passively towards the A site, they knew there was a weak side, right? There was basically no utility to watch towards middle. The alarm bot wasn't there, it was a turret. So they realized here that we were turtling more towards the inside of these sites. So they push towards Tree. They get that nice map control from MESO's Millionaire. But for Solstice, what they did instead after was pushing out towards B main just to make sure that you lock down that area. So it did allow here the last players of MESO's after the post plan to really set themselves up, which allowed Melia to get the surprise kill and have an easy retake on a 2 versus 1 in the end for Solstice to score first here in this series. It was going to be a great start. I mean, if you're looking at MESO's Millionaires, the upset that they had yesterday was having a lot of these rounds on the defensive side. So their objective, of course, is to try to salvage as many of the rounds that they could on the attack because of this KJ and Astra delayed composition that they're holding.
With the Ares, MESO are going to be feeling this in the morning, and with the KJ Molly stopping MESO from getting through the choke. So much damage. Finally, the path is carved. MESO make their way to the site, but they still have to deal with Elaborate, who rotated 2 boats, now with Melia's assistance. So cover going out, wait for reinforcements. Those have arrived. MESO got away with the plant for now, but Elise is so low, and they're forced to play on the site. Solstice pushing 2. There is the swing. Kills acquired, all up to Marina. Getting that drop down from Scary Shark. What? The knife. It misses. Wait, this is clutchable. Oh no, the panic. Marina just couldn't get out. What the heck just happened?
It definitely looked like Marceline didn't have any more bullets, so she just ran in, screw it, I'll try to knife you, but somehow almost gave a chance there for the reload to happen. But it definitely got convoluted within that smoke. Overall, though, still a great round for MESO's Millionaires to be able to get a plant, to activate and move very quickly, despite getting spotted by the Raycon dart at the beginning from Sabubu. And that was all thanks to a pot flash that was being thrown there on the attack from the KO, staying behind the enemy lines, manned ahead. A beautiful flash thrown within that site that just allowed the engagement and the flash and the dash to come through towards his B site. And it looks like she actually did get a contact with that knife. That was insane. But nonetheless, they stopped the blading here for Solstice. They still have some money to work with within round number 4. And you can already see here, Marceline, she's not buying with everybody else. So in this bonus round, they're going to keep it fairly low so they could engage into an operator as soon as possible. So for MESO, you have to make sure here that you're not going to lose too many weapons in the process when you have this opportunity, this advantage now in your gun round versus Solstice's bonus. And they realize that the buy is going to be very low. Look how defaulty we're playing here for MESO, staying back towards the spawn, trying to get early control here towards the extremities, and trying to see if there's going to be some aggressive pushes from Solstice on his B side. So a lot of these teams like to do these shark attacks on B in their bonus. And Elaborate's just going to walk solo. Might get caught, but they have good map control here.
Yeah, the turret gonna reveal that someone's around the corner. So Elaborate holding their ground over at B main. Meanwhile, Spike has moved towards A. Solstice throwing out the knife. Pings are out. Meso are committed. Ready to dash in would be Elise. She's a little far behind. The entry begins without her. 2 kills from Animal. She is incredible. She had a 4K on Bind last time I watched her. She's a mechanical warlord, but check your corners, kid. 3K for Scary Shark. To break that offense in half, Meso only have Teddy and Manda left. And this spike hasn't been planted yet, and that's all they had to do, though. Meso will get around.
What did I say when we were looking at the beginning of the top 8? When we first started the show in day number 1, just watch out for Nora, aka Scary Shark, when she's wielding the Guardian. Yes, had a beautiful assist to start things off with the recon to get that first kill, but then swinging through and just tapping those opponents from the back, finding the perfect timing. And then finding the opportunity, seizing the opportunity to make sure that economy stays low now for Mesos Millionaires in round number 4 was a huge play. And now the op comes out, full armor. It's going to be difficult here. Mesos, they have to play a little bit more cautiously, and already did he do. Turret on the top just to make sure they could engage here. The opper trying to peek towards M1. Reconvert pushing the opper back. But there's that re-peek that's going to get spotted by the turret. She's not going to shoot it, though. So they don't want to let here Mesos Millionaires. Well, there you go. Now the shot comes out. You just heard it ring. So I might engage now Mesos to create this pressure on B side. And there you go. The first pick coming through on their side.
Meso have first blood. They've already weakened the B site. You see pings of, okay, once maybe that mid smoke clears, think about getting some market pressure. Solstice playing deep into B. Not exactly on the site, so they're free to disengage if things start to heat up a bit at B, but what we love about the early and the mid rounds for Meso, it's so quiet. It's a mind game. And then, of course, you have Scary Shark and Wine.
Yeah, and unfortunately here for Mesos, well, at least for Solstice, they're going to have an opportunity for Meso because the knife missed. It didn't get information here towards Catwalk, so it allows now Mesos just flood inside the A side for a flag.
Oh, but this op is going to be a problem. And Elise, are they going to want to updraft? Waiting out the drone, shooting that, but not wanting to react. That's still playing very protective. Now the turret is out. You know the op is still standing on top of heaven. How do Mesos deal with it? Just hoping to play time, play their lives, play the crossfire off the drop down 2 from Solstice. And from behind, it's Amanda saying hello. And with a chest match against Melia. And Melia that comes out on top. Solstice have dropped their op. Smoked off though. Time is running out for Solstice to get these kills and the defuse. But Marceline with a great pick up close and personal. Couldn't get the shorty out. And Mesos convert a back-to-back round.
Well, very nicely done here by the last-minute sub coming through with that flank from behind here from Manda to get that pick. It was very nicely done as a KO to get that pick. Just run the knives through, pull away even the other KO on the other end from Melia. Just not allowing here Solstice to really set up on that retake. Marceline is like left by her lonesome to try to retake the site. At least she got a nice shot, but when you're going to have to play against 3 players inside the site, very difficult for you to capitalize and win the round back here in favor of Solstice.
1 enemy remaining.
If anything, a little bit of misplays coming back from the defensive side to start. Going to try to change the tempo a bit. Marceline dashing forward with the paranoia. Unfortunately, couldn't catch opponents.
She's on the hunt, though. Quick little peek from Marina. They're just going to hold their ground, and that's going to leave Marceline to take back mid-control and take a different route. Going through B main could get the backstab onto the spike carrier. If Mesos are not careful, Solstice could have a pivotal pinch, as Meso only have 2 attackers pushing B. But that pick from Manda is everything. This is dwindling down the site, but finally the backstab comes through from Marceline, leaving Manda in a horrible spot, at least with the null command of a second chance at life if backup arrives. And here is that backup. Animal, Marina, the Aldrum, assessing what's going on the site, locking down Melia, and even resurrecting Manda. Mesos have really salvaged this round despite kind of getting surrounded.
Yeah. It's still pretty good, though, for Solstice to do a little bit of that damage. Still, the spike hasn't been planted yet. Scare Shark has an opportunity behind the turret now to maybe squeak through.
Spike planted.
While the rest of Mesos are trying to just pull back and play discipline behind the post plant inside the B site.
Not a bad try. At least you got the weapon upgrade, but that's 3 in a row from Mesos, and still having the lockdown, the Hunter's Fury. They had such a great reaction to Marceline's aggression. The Blade Storm, and Marceline not getting too antsy, not kind of tunneling on those kills, taking back mid, deciding for plan B, and eventually getting that backstab kill. But it's fortunately Solstice that couldn't retake the site in that moment.
Another opportunity to get an op out though for Solstice, and this time not using her towards the middle. Just going to be more the Omen playing on that side for Scary Shark, and the op is going to be watching very passively towards the A main. You're seeing from the beginning though the tempo coming out from Meso to try to take control of middle. Already the knife, not allowing any smokes to come out potentially from Scary Shark. I'm not sure if he got hit. It doesn't matter.
Oh, Solstice had to read this. Something was happening in Pizza. They threw out the paranoia, and Scary Shark just held the angle. Got the one pick. Taking out the Jet from the offense is pretty important. But with this attacker's lockdown, Sububu is in a spot where they will be detained. One and done, and under that pressure, couldn't convert the kill.
Spike planted.
So Meso not only got the plant, but the lockdown flushed out Solstice. Now Marceline's op will peek at the top of B with Elaborate making as much noise as they can from Market at the door. Maybe trying to draw Meso's attention to leave an opening for Marceline to get eyes on someone in closet. But Elaborate has already picked off one, and Marceline with the second, dashing out in time. Solstice playing their life as much as they can, and Meso will take him out.
Yeah, good readjustment towards the end here for Meso's Millionaires, because usually on a 4 versus 2, especially when you invested heavily into an operator, I would assume here that you would want to try to save that weapon going into the next round, especially with an operator and another rifle that they had available for them. But with those first picks, the wallbang that came through from Elaborate was quite nice. And it almost gave a chance here for Solstice to come back in this round, but that readjustment from Marina and Teddy, very nicely done. They won their 1v1s at that point, but Meso's Millionaires so far have been doing a great job just seeing where the op is currently being placed with the util that they're currently using with the initiators. And once they realize that they're not going to be under that pressure of the op from Marceline, they really up the tempo and take control here of sites very quickly. That lockdown is very rare that you see it towards the lane, but that's just because they pressured so well into that mid to B split, and knowing that they weren't going to get hit here by anybody else from Solstice who are trying to readjust on the fallback.
No, Solstice definitely need to work in some more rounds. That's why they're taking this timeout. How do you halt the momentum from Meso? Because that was the same problem they faced against Passion Project yesterday, where Solstice didn't win a single offensive round. So you really need to put a big dent into these defensive rounds if the offense is what you truly struggle with. But it was Meso that decided to bring them here, either out of their own strengths or maybe out of spotting those weaknesses out of Solstice from yesterday. Either way, timeout's over.
Great. When you're looking at Mesos, when they won their map on Ascent, was great anchor plays from both the Sentinel and the Astra. So Teddy and Animal probably playing separately within those sites on Ascent, and then just holding them against any type of aggression that came through, which is why here we looked at the game plan and trying to see here from Mesos Millionaires, if you could capitalize on a couple of these rounds on the attack, you'll be looking fairly good here on your map pick. And so far, getting 4 out of 6. You're going to take that to your advantage. Potentially even a 5th, as you have another Thrifty coming out now for Solstice, going back and forth with these buys and these shares. Unfortunately, not getting too much value within their gun rounds, so they could go into these moments where they maybe want to force a couple or more stingers around.
Okay, hitting your own team is not ideal. Teddy gets scraped up there, but either way, this is a great reaction out of Solstice, that if you do win a gunfight, you gotta win it where you can still reach the upgraded gun. And Solstice done good damage. It's 4v4. Meso with the plant. Solstice, all 3 in heaven.
Planted.
Ready to react at the same time, and they've brought Elise down to 3 HP, who won't be able to pressure heaven with health going on. As Elaborate is also coming from behind, one away from the lockdown, and is gonna decide to invest it over at the orb side.
Gonna keep everybody towards hell though. Animal, unfortunately, is gonna get picked off, so this is an opportunity for Solstice to start flooding back in with the Hunter's Fury.
They're deciding to invest 2 ults now, knowing they're in hell, as you said, to defuse. Already at halfway, and no one left from Meso to defend it. Solstice, and a Thrifty.
That was actually very nicely played by Solstice on a Thrifty round that they had. This should have been a round number 5 for Mesos Millionaires. I was just about to come in. I stand corrected before the latest addition coming in here as a sub. It's definitely Marina, as that Sova, she got so much value off the Aerodrome to get the information for the team to really set up. But unfortunately, with the 3 players not fighting it against the lockdown that was placed by Solstice, Mesos Millionaires just kind of got caught off. One from a crossfire setup that took down Animal, the lockdown stays up, and it pins the last 2 players inside hell, where they're going to get hit by a Hunter's Fury in that spot, and if not get hit by a Hunter's Fury into Wine if you made it out towards that way too. So a great way here to utilize your ultimates on a Thrifty. Something, again, I always commend EG doing so well. That could be here, some nice adjustments coming out from Solstice on the defensive half.
Oh, peekaboo! Wait, they go 1 for 1. That works out. Up, dropped. Meso with mid control. Alarmbot will reveal them. You see that Sabubu and Labrit, they keep their eyes peeled for market. Marina going through tree, checking out if there's anyone in glass, and this is really good information. Meso have a lot of good map control, but where is the plan being called now?
So far, you gotta have to stay put, because the recon dart hasn't seen anything. You still have KJ utility that's watching towards the market and also towards B main. Now, unfortunately, it's Sabubu alone inside sight.
They'll hold it down with a cosmic divide. Oh wait, the spike carrier is down, so Sabubu made a dent into the forces of Mesos. At least still has the Blade Storm too. Solstice have 2 left. Paranoia, 2 flashes. Coming up on the other side of this cosmic divide now that that's gone. Marina's on the other side of that smoke too. If she swings out, she could have a great cutoff. She'll hear them in Boathouse. Marina still has shock bolts too if she wants to play a safer angle. And Melia and friend are split up. They can't even set up for trades. That's 4 for Marina for Mesos.
A big round for Marina once again, continuing to put up the numbers and also the utility to help Mesos Millionaires get all these rounds on the attack. And it almost looked like it was doable there for Solstice with both the KO and the Omen alive. They had a nice little flash to start entering towards that site, but unfortunately, you don't have that extra body, even a Sova to try to recon towards the site with those flashes. You're still running into the unknown, and an opportunity for Solstice to take advantage of that non-information that Mesos has on the retake to just get the backstab towards the end. So Mesos, once again, continuing to run away with this first half. You're seeing a situation where you have a much lower buy here for Solstice once again. Only a shorty for Marceline, Scary Shark with the Sheriff, and that's the weak side. They're actually gambling all of their stronger weapons on a B side hit, and potentially even save those should they lose control of the A site. So, name of the game now is hoping that your Jet and your Omen on this A side are just going to land their shots and give a chance here for the retake to happen for Solstice.
Well, Solstice already got 1 Thrifty. What about a second Thrifty, huh? You just have to shoot them where you can grab the gun. That's what's important. Not that bad a weaponry from Solstice. And it's just about waiting where Mesos are going to move these pawns. They always like to just wait out the first 30 seconds of a round, make no noise. And once that around 40-second mark hits, that's when Mesos likes to make a move. It will be slowed down by the KJ Molly. Dashing into Boathouse is the lead. No one check one. Sabubu with first blood. The flash to just protect Sabubu. That was everything for Melia. And Mesos. This round is over.
Marina trying to help with the util towards the end, but unfortunately a little too late. Not checking the logs, but you mentioned that flash.
10 seconds
Just allows a nice little crossfire set up by Solstice towards the end and trying to do some econ damage, but it's not going to happen. Ends up being a flawless round to answer back for Solstice.
Oh, man. Let's go. I got things to do.
And that was so nicely played there. As we mentioned before, they stacked those players towards that B site with those rifles and no utility to clear out towards logs. This gave a great opportunity right here for Sabuba to get so much value from her spot and baiting all the players trying to get that trade towards logs. And then Melia just runs out here after her pop flash. That was so clean on the hold. And that's going to hurt the econ for a bit. There's still an opportunity to buy something else now for Mesos Millionaires. Blade Storm available for Elise. They're looking for a fast mid control. Already a recon dart going out towards M1. Knife not landing either, so they're going to keep that in their pocket for Manda. Potentially for the inside hit. They take control of this mid.
Marina said, not again, bro. With Solstice, sometimes having these forward pushes, as soon as the barriers come down, Marina knows to not take a stupid duel, especially when she's outnumbered. Two being pinged from that knife of Manda, realizing there's a lot more firepower than they expected. They're gonna take a different angle as Mesos towards A with the null command from Manda. A lot of pressure on Marceline, but Meso win every duel in. Null command continues from Manda. Every try from Solstice gets shut down.
We're getting some good rounds of both defensive and attacking sides here from Solstice and from Mesos Millionaires. That knife just hitting the KO towards the back of the spawn just made them think, okay, well, they're not going to have enough util to stall towards the A site, besides potentially a paranoia towards the A site. So we could run our bodies in and just make sure we guarantee the trades. And they popped a null command on top of that so that util could not happen. So there was nothing coming through from Scary Shark with that paranoia. They used their own utility to force Marceline out of her spot. And then you saw the nice entries, the nice trades that happened as well. In these moments where they're at the brink of going into an eco in these last two rounds for both Solstice and Mesos Millionaires, they're able to keep this into a healthy gun round against each other.
Mesos wanting to fight for this orb to get their lockdown going, but these one ways and how forward Solstice like to play sometimes at A main. Mesos don't want to take that risk. They'll either wait out the smoke and fight for mid, and taking out Marceline is a great start for Mesos. They'll throw the knife and pizza like they do. Not sure if that really detected Elaborate, but we'll be also protecting mid and getting eyes on it with Sabubu. Still having recon, still having shock bolts. Meso ready to scramble. They're going to use the jet smoke to run by and take an alternate angle, and a crossfire if Solstice were to step out, but they're not going to do that. Protect B as much as they can. So just going through B main, and Elaborate has the op. And where did that jet just go in the smoke? Door closes, the eyes closing soon to Elaborate. We'll have the sight line there. A second pick with the op. Finally, Manda shuts that down. 2 rounds left in the half. With Meso in a 1v1 now. Marina versus Scary Shark. Spike planted 2. Gonna be as quiet as she can, checking the corner now, thinking she was in closet, but Marina was at green box. That's a great win.
Last round.
There's definitely going to be some sort of highlight package or gassing up Marina somehow in the Admiral's desk, right? With how much value she's providing right now for Mesos Millionaires. But it did go back and forth once again. It looked a little bit striking. A couple of question marks here and there, though, because I thought the pivot back towards the B main was to pick up the orb, which Animal did, and will just get an ult to play safely inside that site. But I guess they felt confident that they were not going to go against any type of like quick shots from Marceline since they already dropped her in the beginning. But Elaborate made that a little bit difficult. Back into a moment, though, as soon as the barriers come up, we have no time to really digest on the previous round. Everybody's trying to up the tempo on both attack and defense, this time for a B-side hit. Lots of util trades coming through, but an open site at least for them to move in for Mesos Millionaires.
At least decide to take that damage in order to seal off the door, thinking that's where Solstice, where a lot of their fire was coming from. So clear the closet and have a plan. It's a 5-person retake for Solstice once they've left the lockdown area. Marceline was gonna ditch the shotgun. She's got the Blade Storm. And that's where Mesos is hoping to extend out. Great 2K on a Teddy for the third with the assist from Manda. It works out for Mesos last round of the half. And Messi will take fate in their own hands. Scary Shark in a 1v3 can't do enough. It's an 8-4 half for Mesos.
If anything, my stocks for Mesos Millionaires has gone so far up after watching them play that post plant. Just to know that after the lockdown that the players are going to have to be around that radius to have to retake that site. You'll just pop the Hunter's Fury right away into spawn and allow those forward players to move forward behind it. And again, the reason why I say that is because when you're looking at this roster in the beginning for Mesos Millionaires, the only one that really pops out is kind of like Animal, because she's been a content creator, streaming Valorant for the longest time, only had a short stint with Complexity, and then wanted to leave kind of like competition to just continue to stream because there was a lot of work and pressure and stuff to do to actually get far, at least in the Game Changers. And now you're looking at Mesos Millionaires potentially having a very deep run in this series number 2. We'll hold that thought. There's a very fast hit from Solstice inside this B site at the pistol round.
You're wasting no time tonight from Amanda's gonna cut down their abilities, and it's just a death match right at the B main door. Shockbolt from Marina finishes off Elaborate. Now barking at each other through the smoke. Solstice will have the member advantage with the plant, but everyone is on the edge of hemorrhaging. So Solstice hoping to just hold down on the site. Shockbolt to clear out logs. AB checking out B main, not worried about that anymore. Now pushing down every lane that they can, making sure that there's not going to be any weird flanks. And both these teams have loved these deep flanks, so I don't blame them for checking everything. Trying to shoot through the wall, thinking you could just get a lucky kill. Animal running out of time. Got detected by the recon. 1v1 Marina versus Sabubu. The spike about to go off. Marina is going to tap it. Sabubu comes out in time. And it's pistols for Solstice again.
Yeah, Marina unfortunately had no choice, especially with the time remaining. He had to at least gamble and hope that she could get it halfway before she could get off it and try to get one last tap. But it seems that both of these teams, especially time ticking against the retake here of Mesos Millionaires, they counted too much on the timer that was left on the recon dart so they could actually throw it back in their favor. And as they did that, you saw that on the attack side for Solstice, they did the same thing, got the ping there onto Animal, which allowed for them to get great positioning to instantly trade against Animal. So both Sovas doing very good, but unfortunately taking too much time now for Mesos Millionaires to start. And look at this round, all of them staying towards spawn. Everybody just, once again, just like the previous round, just accept different positions. Expect an aggressive push out of Mesos Millionaires this time around, as Solstice are holding back towards the spawn for the first few seconds, and then we'll start scaling together. But if anything, sticking out as a group. Don't know if they're going to start trying to use here Alan Jones or whatnot to re-clear towards the site or contact as a team. That nice spotting too, though, might cause for them, or might force them and make the decision to rotate back towards the A site. And that seems to be the case.
It's good information. Melia in that moment. Now rotating to A, but with that free space, Meso made their way through B main. Elaborate obviously got that information off the turret. They're just gonna make sure cover their bases just in case there's someone still at A. Checking through wine, checking through hell. They don't know what's in tree. How aggressive are they gonna want to be at heaven once the smoke clears? Either way, Solstice have chosen the right site. They got the plant down. Meso already have, guess what, Animal on the flank. And I wonder if Scary Shark and Elaborate are going to want to turn around. But I like the angles that Mesos are taking.
Yeah, if anything, they bought so much here for Solstice. I don't think it's worth it for them to push back towards the spawn to lose these weapons. So
Animal is on the flank. And by the time she's back there, she can't make much happen. So another round for Solstice.
Yeah, good old safe Valorant coming through, right? Once they realized that stack that was happening, or guessed that the stack was going to be towards that B site because of the KO knife that Melia threw, they went and made sure that they dotted their I's, crossed their T's, used all the utility to clear out the A site, and once again, just play the pulse plans. You don't know where the defenders will be rotating from, or by as you push out through that smoke, you don't know how many players would be behind that smoke already, right? So you don't want to play for that gamble. So I like that they chose instead here to stay within the site, just make sure that they guarantee trades and guarantee a very strong bonus round. Only Sabubu has a ghost, which is their weakest weapon, but look at the rest. It's still Guardians, Bulldogs, which our ADS burst could do a lot of damage. Vandals are one taps here. And of course, Scary Shark with his Guardian always does damage. So trying to push.
And that's gonna get punished. Elaborate, go 1 for 1. But this is what Mesos did last round. So Solstice dealt with the util, have a normal default. Now, that first pick, think about B. There could be a grab well. This could be a stun. Meso could slow them down at the B main choke. Teddy's at 21 HP, so doesn't want to take the duel, I guess, until they caught Marceline without a smoke or out of the smoke. I'm not sure, but missing that Jet is rough, but he's still got
Spike
3
planted.
more people, including Scary Shark with the Paranoia. He got 1 Shock Bolt, 1 Recon. Animal, guess what? On the flank again. Checking out mid, and it's the backstabbing the backstab, I guess? I don't know, but Scary Shark shot her in the back.
Last two will still try to activate within the site, though. Nice first shot from Elise.
All right. Not sure if someone else is in the closet. You heard someone at the hallway. Marina dwindling this offense down to just Melia with the Bulldog shooting through the wall. But it's Elise with the last laugh and the defuse with also in the bonus.
Ended up being bad position towards the end here for Mesos Millionaires. They planted in front of Dice just to try to play forward positions, but not in positions where they could trade off with each other against those last 2 players coming in here from Mesos Millionaires. So very nicely done for the retake on the defensive side. Your bonus round did do some damage at least, though. You're forcing 3 weapons. You got a spike plant on your end that adds 300 credits for the team too. So Booba has a Hunter's Fury going to the next round, so it's not too bad. It's for Solstice, of course, despite them losing their bonus round. And Mesos Millionaires are trying to find the aggression towards the A side first, trying to get a forward position from Elise. Animals forced to play with a Judge inside 3.
This is gonna hurt that Judge. It's gonna come down on Solstice if they continue this catwalk trajectory, because they don't have mid smoked off too. So this is kind of awkward from Solstice, not knowing, checking this corner, but the Judge didn't react fast enough. First blood for Solstice, now going in quick. Smoked off glass, heading right into the site. KJ, Molly, slow them down. Either way,
Nah, Animals
Meso-
down.
Animals down, so on the other side, Meso trying to take control of top Evan. And Elise and Marina with 3. This is crazy. Oh, Solstice thought they had a good start, but not so much.
Yeah, and Elaborate's going to be way too far. I mean, she's still trying to do some damage, but I think it was the better move to try to save the weapon towards the end. Marina with a 4K in that round. One more time for Mesos Millionaires, continuing the streak of multi-kills this first map. But if anything, yes, losing Animal early here with the Judge on tree, but forcing the other 2 players to push forward towards A main to take control of that spot. So it gives you a better chance to retake the site should you lose control of tree. Was really nicely done for Mesos Millionaires to pivot towards that, especially when they were able to dodge the Paranoia thrown by Scary Shark. And speaking of that, Scary Shark, unfortunately here, I'm going to have to call her out for a bit. That's a couple of smokes that she's been missing here on this Omen roll. So as much as we praise her being good in these roles, there's maybe a little bit of offness on how you control these smokes on the aggression.
Oh, the recon from Meso to catch the entry from Solstice. Marceline still wins in the up-close personal battle. Right on the site when she was isolated. Holding down logs is still Solstice, catching the rotates from Meso. KJ Molly slowing down the top of site. Meso's retake is staggered. Also weakened. It's only Teddy and Marina. The Cosmic Divide. Teddy revealed. And Melia from behind, knowing where that last player is in a 1v4. Marina in a bad spot. So Solstice will still continue to take some rounds.
Yeah, at least some saving grace right on what just happened on the previous round here, losing that to Mesos. And also now you're starting to see 3 ults that are available, some very strong ones too, that they could start cycling across here, giving them a chance to come back on the attack side. Because remember, when we prefaced this matchup on Ascent, we definitely did say here that Mesos Millionaires, at least I did, said that Mesos Millionaires had very strong defensive halves. And to continue to chip against the economy like this, I mean, just winning a round after losing 2 in a row, and you're already forcing a half buy for Mesos is a great start.
And the the paranoia. Marceline carves her initials into Animal, and she's looking for more. Hungry for blood, and Mesos already down 2. Flank is there, but it's already been taken care of. Solstice reading Mesos like a book. And that's back-to-back rounds and a flawless on top of that.
And the only round that the only ult they had to use towards that was the Blade Storm, especially when you didn't have the best buy as well from Marceline. Very understandable that you're going to bring out here the Blade Storm, and even her upgrade after that was only a Spectre, unfortunately, so you just saw her upgrade into a rifle. But the most important line is that they still have this null command and this Under Fury to work with. So if you want to pop with the aggression that they're currently doing here so far, that they're finding value, they could do that with the KO ult. If not, they could start popping that towards the A site. Or they could default and start working the Sabubu ult on their splits. It's gonna be the first thing. Yep.
Solstice dashing in. Teddy not even caring about the jet. It's the follow-up. Holy cow, Sabubu's mechanics. What is the sense on that girl? Solstice closing the gap in the score. And they have the plant. 2-member advantage. Elise coming through heaven. Solstice haven't wanted to tread those waters yet. Meso will have to force the issue. And Animal's on the longest flank ever, and all the action has gone down, so she has to hurry up and cut her path maybe towards tree. No, she's gonna go back, and
It's gonna be
sounds like Manda and Animal are gonna save after all.
Yeah, no choice. On a 5 versus 3, the idea was already there. I mean, it almost looked like they, at least unfortunately, got caught looking at the radar, trying to call something out while the Owl drone was coming through, which then allowed that jump up to happen and get that pick. So at least they'll be able to salvage the op within the next round. But that's, excuse me, something that Solstice will definitely know that at least we'll still have going into round number 19. So one of those, you know, it's getting very close right now in this first map. And they need to salvage whether they can here for Mesos Millionaires. And for Solstice, they'll understand that there's still the op available on the defensive side. And trying to figure out if they want to find that out first or continue this fast-paced action that have been pulling out here on this on this second half rather.
Meso with the timeout, especially with Solstice getting wind in their sails. I don't blame them, but it's been great to see the improvement from Solstice because we just casted them yesterday, right, on Ascent against Passion Project and not winning a single offensive round because of the lack of post plants. And Passion Project are very stacked, so it's totally fine. But Solstice, they're turning this map around despite this being Meso's bread and butter.
If there's anything that I remember as well from the Solstice versus Passion Project game was realizing how many times they were getting hit by KO knives and recon darts that allow Passion Project to get such good defensive rounds because they could just spam everybody through smoke or through walls and just also trade effectively because you're already picking out where your opponents are at and there's no utility on the other end here for Solstice to hold them back. This time around, it's a different playstyle though that Mesos Millionaires is pulling out, which falls in the hands of and falls in favor rather of Solstice a little bit more in their aggression because they don't have to worry about that too much, right? They're just playing off angles right now from Mesos as you saw before, but then a nice flick came out from Sabubu to get the double entry for Solstice to be able to set up here for the pulse plant. So yeah, you're definitely seeing a much more comfortable attacker side because of it.
Shadows traveling.
Solstice right into the scope of the op. And Solstice still want to brawl with this. No one's looking at this op. I mean, some kind of miscomm on who was supposed to pressure back the op, who picks up 2 kills. It will be dropped. At least the spike still goes off, and it's planted for hell with the smoke. There's some protection, but Marina can at least spot someone in A main. The Hunter's Fury flushing out the rats from hell. Like the angle that Scary Shark is taking, but hearing that something is happening from the tree door and catching Elise at the perfect time. A great reaction from Scary Shark was out in the open. So Meso's punish is there. We're left in a 1v1. Sabubu with the drone, 2 shock bolts, but an Animal with better aim.
Better aim and winning that 1v1 to give a chance here for Mesos Millionaires to regain a little bit of that momentum, a little bit of that confidence that they could close out this first map potentially. But it was still a nice entry to start things off here from Solstice. Manda, you talked about the communication there of what was really missing or potentially missing. They probably thought that she was just going to run back when the KO Molly was being thrown. Yet she just confidently swung out of that smoke and the KO molly, sorry, just to make sure that she could potentially get one more before she falls down, which definitely gives a better chance here for Mesos Millionaires to retake that side on the lower bar that they had, right? So it was nicely done. Sheriff, Blade Storm got the job done. Mesos are 2 rounds away here of closing that map. Knife gets a lot of info, yet Solstice still wants to keep pushing out towards this A main to start.
With this Astra, though, Teddy really forces these isolated engagements. Marceline doesn't have a team with her. And just the cover of the smoke will not be enough. Thankfully for Solstice, that op shot misses. The op will be back to say hello. Meanwhile, Solstice made quick ground of A. Smoking on top of Heaven. Smoking out Tree, but Marina, the last lap with the Odin through the door. Meso all stacked. Shock Bolt. Pressure them back. The drone will spot Zubu at Generator. And they're just going to stay as hidden as they can. Well, as much as the X-Ray will provide. At least with the office dropping down. Thankfully, Meso got her back. Meso will be 1 round away from taking a set.
I thought somehow Elise was going to hit that too. Just falling, I was going to be like, oh, are we playing patch 8.11 already? But no, if anything, it definitely got chaotic for the first engagement, the first attempt to get within the site, and that's all thanks to the utility from both of the KOs. The suck also was posted on the ground here from Teddy just to make sure that they could isolate and separate the amount of pushes that were coming through. But then after that, that suck disappeared, you just had to land your shots. And unfortunately here for Mesos, they came out with a player advantage on their retake. And then Astros brought a lot of value. I mean, Athena just spoke about on the desk. She's biased for Astra and what she could do here towards the defensive side, or just in general as an agent. Whereas usually when you don't have the Omen to paranoia back into the site to flood the way that you could, at least you have that concuss that could be placed in a great spot for you to run out, which we saw it being placed here just to contain towards the generator. So they could actually flood back the way that they did as well. A nice little change, or at least how you want to adapt on not having a flash in the hands of an Omen, and still get great value because it still allows for you to trade and force out the trades effectively here on your end because you have the player advantage. So this calls out the last time out here for Solstice. Again, map point for Mesos, and thankfully leads a full gun round for Solstice thanks to that plant they had on the previous round. A lockdown to work with as well, and it looks to be one more time a 5-player hit, this time again towards the A site.
And ready for them too is Manda with the null command, Animal with the lockdown. A lot of options for Mesos, and with that knife ping, I gotta respect that, but Manda cannot get up into Heaven. Just gonna try and coordinate with Animal to catch him on the cross. The boo-boo is there, and the smokes came up. Solstice, I thought they were gonna be cut down while Mesos had the setup, but some kind of miscom happened. But either way, Mesos, the defenders were overwhelmed in terms of numbers, so Solstice, a good start to this round. Information of that Odin coming up through Heaven. But where is the op from Elise? Teddy doing what they can on the flank. It's a W2 against Elaborate.
Cover going out.
Scary Shark in hell. Oh, it's a bad time to come out back to hibernation. Goes back into shelter. Boo swings and couldn't save them, but we'll try to get the trade up and above. It's Mesos on top.
Big round by Teddy to make sure here that Mesos could actually flood back within the site, get the defuse, and close the first map again. Just showing that Mesos Millionaires on the defensive side are much more comfortable, and it's very difficult for you to play against the oppression that they had. The second time here that they swung out from A Heaven with the op when you had the gravity well at the entrance of the A site, and this time Elise got a pick and allowed here for the defensive side also to just close out the first map.
Just love the Astra pick. I think Athena was onto something, which is how pivotal that was to just isolate these smaller engagements, and the number advantage for Mesos on that defense just made it so tough for Solstice on A, who really just hit the site quick. There's no mind games, there's no default, there's no really exploration of the map. It's the one and done, and Solstice will fall behind on this map again, but we'll have more maps around the corner, so don't go anywhere. You're watching Game Changers.
Purple gives you wings.
Hey guys, it's Jimmy Lin. In this series, I'm going to walk you through attack on Pearl. Watch out for the stairs, clear this angle. You're going to be able to fight this.